Time will bring the veil and the light out. There'll be no remnants, no trace, no residual feelings within you. They won't remember me.
All right, this is Plan Your Greatness. I am your gracious host again, and my name is Carlton Hamilton. That song, I try to find something that has relevance to what we're talking about. We're talking about the past here and how to move forward. That song is by Maxwell called Pretty Wings. And he talks about a past relationship and how he's finally found the strength to move on past it. And I'm going to probably make a video later on talking more specifically about a past relationship that I had to grow and get stronger and move past. But in this video, what I want to share with you is I look at it and I said, you didn't eat your past. OK, you didn't eat your parents. OK, you didn't eat a bad relationship, and you didn't eat the death of that person that was really close to you that passed away. Now, I say that because I think of the human body. I mean, it is the greatest thing, the greatest creation in the universe is the human body. More specifically, our digestive system. Now, let's think of this for a second, okay? When you eat something, in the infinite wisdom of our body, you know what it does? It doesn't matter if you had a super healthy meal or you ate some garbage. It is going to, on its way through your system, it is going to extract everything that it can use from that meal. And then whatever it can't use, and I mean, it breaks down everything. It is looking for everything that it can take out of it to supply your body with nutrients and energy. And you know what it does with the rest of it? It gets rid of it. Passes through your body as waste. Now let's think about that for a second. It only uses what it needs to, and it discards the rest. So my understanding of that is, why do we hold on to bad experiences? Because your body doesn't hold on to things that are bad for it. You know, maybe fat and all this stuff. It tries not to. It tries to use what it can, and it tries to get rid of what it can't use. So I'm asking you, why do we hold on to bad experiences? Okay. And in my analyzing myself, the term that comes to mind is elevated emotional experience. Because what happens is, when we have something happen to us and our emotions are elevated for that, or it's just we're in that space for an extended period of time, it's very difficult for us to move past that. Okay. And I wrote this down. It says that deepens the impression, but more specifically, it's not what happens to us. It's how we were feeling during that moment that makes it so powerful. And one of the books that I read when I got out of prison was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, where he specifically says there is a space between what happens to us and how we react. And he said in that space determines our growth, our freedom, and we have the freedom to choose how we're going to react. So we determine how things are going to be, and from that point forward, from whatever happens to us. So again, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react afterwards. All right. And again, I say that you didn't eat it. You absorbed it through your mentality, through your mind. And so what that did, that ended up creating our personality. And as I mentioned in videos before, our personality is how we think, how we eventually feel from those thoughts, and then how we act from that. And then what that does is create, and I've mentioned this before, that creates our personal reality. And what is that? Our personal reality is how we see the world. But more specifically in that reality is how do we see ourselves having the ability to change what we're looking at? And some of us believe that we can't change it, and others feel very empowered. And that's a very powerful difference on how we move forward in our lives. Now, just as I mentioned before, as far as we didn't eat it, we absorbed it mentally. So we have to then look at how we are mentally eating. So we need to be very intentional, very deliberate, and premeditated with what we are putting in our mind. Because here's a couple of questions to think about. What do you do when you want to get yourself in shape? You start eating right, you start exercising, and you making sure that you're getting rest. Because rest is a big component of losing weight. I've just learned that recently. Now let's think about on the other side of that. What do you do if you want to get in mental shape? It's very similar. You want to make sure you're exercising your mind, doing the right things, saying the right things. You want to make sure you're feeding it the right information, the right things. You're saying the things, being around the right people. So again, that's like food. You're putting fuel into your mind. You want to know it. And then the last thing is, okay, we're exercising our minds. We're putting the right thing in there, and we're making sure we're getting the right rest. Because if your mind is stressed, it's tired, it's not going to operate at its optimal level. So we need to be very intentional as far as how we're going about that. Because here's a question. What do you believe is the most important asset that you have? Okay, just think of that for a second. It's your mind. Now, what is the most powerful utilization of that asset? It would be thinking. Okay, so from this point forward, from this information, I want you to treat your past like food. Use in those situations, use what you can, and then discard the rest like waste. Don't hold on to it, because again, we see heavier people that have held on to big bellies and just sicknesses. And when I did that little colon cleanse, man, it showed on the board all the things that happen to our digestive system from eating bad food that our body ends up holding on to it. And it was absolutely disgusting. So I see the same things. We didn't eat our past, so don't hold on to them. Treat them like food. Use what you can, discard the rest. This is Plan Your Greatness. And I'm going to say this again. Plan your greatness. Why? Because no one else will. All right. I will see you all. I always have a little bit of trouble getting this off. I will see you all next time.